Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of At Least You Heard It Here. I'm your host, Alyse Adamson. So today we're going to be putting cancel culture on trial. And before you say anything, I recognize that I could dedicate about 10 episodes on this phenomenon. So for purposes of making this zippy, we're going to focus on the impact, or lack thereof, of cancel culture on an upcoming political race. Specifically, we're talking about Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York who resigned in disgrace amid a sexual harassment scandal. And he is now running to be mayor of New York City. You heard that right. He has gone from canceled to candidate in only a few years. And the question really is, should he have remained canceled? Now, before we get into Cuomo's case, I think we need to set the stage. And what even is cancel culture? So just bringing up the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition, cancel culture is defined as the practice or tendency of engaging in mass canceling as a way of expressing disapproval and exerting social pressure. And essentially what that means is that an individual is so shamed by whatever it is they've done that they are no longer accepted in society. They will have no voice and they will essentially be pariahs. And because I promise to always tell you when something is my opinion rather than fact, I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion here. I think that cancel culture has gone too far. Now, that being said, I definitely think that it is a spectrum and things need to be taken on a case-by-case basis. And now I'll be offering you two examples to break this down. The first of which is R. Kelly. I'm sure everyone remembers him, famous singer in the 90s. Very serious allegations against R. Kelly. He has been convicted of violating the Mann Act. He has been convicted of RICO charges, and he's also been convicted of child pornography charges. He has been convicted of very serious crimes stemming from sexual abuse of minors spanning many, many years, decades. To me, that's a bright line. He needs to keep his butt seated down in prison. I mean, nothing. No trapped in the closet reboots. No one wants to hear from him. And I'm making that point very strongly because there is a song called Residuals that is being shared online and various social media platforms where R. Kelly does a guest verse via a jail telephone call. Some people are applauding this performance. Others are saying it shouldn't have happened, but they're giving it life and they are giving him a platform, and he is kind of coming up in a cultural relevancy. And to me, this is plain wrong. We shouldn't be giving R. Kelly any platform. Once again, he is a prisoner and he should just be sitting and thinking about what he did, horrific counts of various child abuse charges. And so then there is Jonathan Majors, another end of the spectrum. He's also been convicted of a crime. For those of you who don't know, he is an actor whose star in the process of rising crashed and burned when he was charged and later convicted of assaulting a former girlfriend. And I should say that what he was ultimately convicted of wasn't that he intentionally harmed her, but he was convicted of harming her nonetheless. And as a result of this conviction, he was canceled. Disney dropped him. Some of his films were shelved, and he lost a very lucrative role playing Kang in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So his crime, legally speaking, wasn't as severe as R. Kelly's. And it was allegedly a one-time incident. So should his cancellation be canceled? Has he served his time in the court of public opinion? Assaulting someone is serious, even if a jury finds you didn't intentionally do it. But he's already been punished for that. Should he be allowed to come back and act in movies again and people be allowed to enjoy them? I have an opinion on that, but I'm going to let you form your own.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
So I present to you now the case of the people versus Andrew Cuomo. So here's the prosecution's arguments. And actually, before I dive into that, I just want to say that I've been thinking a lot about this post-election because this time putting it to the people isn't a novel idea, right? This is a democracy, and ultimately the people who should decide who represents them, whether we like that decision or not. And we saw that during this election cycle with President Trump. I think the more relevant question, because I do think we should be putting things to the people, is when should conduct be absolutely disqualifying, right? Now, the president was found liable in multiple civil suits, some for defamation, some for sexual abuse allegations, and his criminal case, 34 felony counts for the hush money case. And is disqualification the equivalent of cancellation? Where do they meet? And I'm posing that question because I am a firm believer of letting people decide, but should there be a mechanism that actually disqualifies political candidates where we as a group of people decide there's certain conduct that is so egregious that they shouldn't be allowed to be a candidate? Or should it be purely put it to the people and let the people decide on a case-by-case basis? Once again, I'll let you make that determination for yourself. So here's the prosecution's argument in the people against Andrew Cuomo. New York Attorney General Letitia James' office did an investigation, and they found that the former governor sexually harassed at least 11 women. And in a 2024 settlement with the governor's office with DOJ Civil Rights Division, after a thorough investigation, DOJ concluded that he had sexually harassed 13 women during his time in office. Cuomo also resigned in disgrace. And I think that's a clear sign that he knew the allegations were politically disqualifying, at least during that time period. I think it's also fair to say that this wasn't a lapse in judgment. The misconduct happened between 2013 and 2021. This shows that it was a pattern. It wasn't just an accident. Some may argue it's even his MO. Can one truly come back from something like that? And finally, he broke the public's trust. And he hasn't really done that much in the interim to show that he's changed. There's been no real public reckoning, no accountability tour, kind of just his resignation and vibes. You know, as Genuine would say, what's so different, right? So now here's the defense argument, which is the let the people decide type argument. Voters already know the allegations and the findings against former Governor Cuomo. There's no skeletons left in this closet for people to find. Everything's been exposed. But I will caveat that we know of. But everything that's been out in the public has been, his dirty laundry's been aired pretty publicly. He's already suffered public humiliation, and he did leave office. It's been 4 years. Should we allow people to evolve, atone for their sins, and then be able to turn over a new leaf? And most importantly, this is an election, not a casting call. Cuomo isn't an actor in Hollywood that those execs can blacklist and keep from movies and decide their persona non grata. The people of New York are going to have the final say. If voters choose him knowing his past, is it really right to override democracy with cancel culture? And so what's the verdict with those points and counterpoints? What do you think? And I mean, here's the real interesting point. Cuomo is currently leading in the polls. His comeback bid seems to be working well for him, even though his name has been tarnished. And his real opponent is the current mayor of New York, Eric Adams, who's kind of in a cancellation cycle of his own. He has been charged by criminal indictment with allegations of bribery and campaign finance offenses. Now, It's likely that this indictment will ultimately be dismissed by the Department of Justice, and that's an entire episode on its own. But his image has also been tarnished. So the voters of New York are going to have a very important decision to make with two candidates that aren't just not perfect, but 10 years ago probably would have been completely canceled. So what do you think? Should Andrew Cuomo's political career been canceled permanently? Or do we forgive, but don't forget? And does any of this matter in this era? Is President Trump's ascendancy a political aberration, one where he truly can do and say anything and face no political repercussions, but that's not true for everyone else? Or has he paved the way for it to be true, for people to care less about sins of the past, even though those sins could be serious? And where's your bright line? You've heard a little bit about my bright line. Where's your bright line? And where do you think society's bright line is? And should we have one? Obviously, you know my opinion. I certainly think we should. But I want you to think about that, and I want you to be the judge. So go ahead and drop your comments. I want to hear your verdict. And join me next week when we put another controversy on trial. If you like what you heard today, of course, go ahead, click like and subscribe, and make sure that you tell folks, at least you heard it here.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you. Call 877-476-1681. That's 877-476-1681. Call now.